Back again for another video. On today's topic, we will be discussing authority, how it plays out, what it looks like, what it is, etc. So, the preface. Authority. Authority is defined as the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. That is literally the definition of authority. It's something that has intent behind it. Authority isn't something that just happens. It's something that is put in motion. It's put in motion to govern systems or people or things. For instance, gravity has the authority over us. Therefore, we submit to gravity. That's how it works. Sure, we have planes, sure, we can jump up and down, but this is only for a momentary point in time. We cannot do these things perpetually. Otherwise, we start to get out of the realm of what it is to be human a lot of times. But authority is something that is very necessary in all things. There is some level of authority over everything that is created because all creation has intent behind it. Some people would argue that. I'm not here to argue it. That's the way that I believe, and that's the way things are going to go here. But the existence of things, once again, had some level of authority to them. And it is my belief that men were given ultimate authority, mankind that is, ultimate authority over the earth. We are the ones who are meant to caretake for the earth. We are the ones who are meant to govern its systems, not as far as weather, but as far as, for instance, the population of deer, for the caretaking of endangered species, such as things like that, or our own species, taking care of our own human mankind. We were given the authority to do these things. Otherwise, we wouldn't be able to. For instance, a cheetah has no authority over us. Why? Because it was not given the authority over us. We were the ones who were blessed with the gifts that give us the ability to have authority. No other animal on this planet has the level of authority that we have over this planet or the environment. No other animal. Now, why is authority important? Because without it, chaos reigns. So it is very important that authority gives order and direction. That's what authority does. Remember, the power or right to give orders, make decisions, and enforce obedience. That, once again, is the definition of authority. So we know what authority is. We know what it does. We know why it does what it does. Now, who does this apply to? Well, we have to figure out who is put in the position of authority naturally, and why were they put in the position of authority naturally. Who between a woman and a man is more likely to practice or understand, rather, how to give orders, understand how to make decisions, and practices obedience for themselves? Look around you. Now, this isn't to say that women are, how can I put it lightly, are inferior. They're not inferior in the way of human to human. They're not. But as far as these three things, have a problem with giving themselves proper orders, making proper decisions, and giving themselves obedience. This is the reason why men inherently have these things. Because remember, the cheetah does not have authority over the human being. Why? Because of its intrinsic attributes. This is the reason why. The cheetah does not have the attributes necessary to hold authority over mankind. But there is a hierarchy to this. For instance, the cheetah can hold authority over its young. It tells it where to go. It makes it follow it. It feeds it. It gives the direction, it gives the obedience, and it makes the decisions over its own young. It has authority, but it cannot do these things with mankind. So, if we understand that there is a hierarchy to authority, we have to also figure out who is at the top of the hierarchy, because we need to figure out who authority applies to. We know that mankind has the authority over the earth. We've already figured that out. But between the sexes of mankind, who is more likely to have the authority and who should be the one to listen to authority? We have to look at the attributes. Once again, I denote that women generally do not have the ability to give themselves proper orders, to make proper decisions for themselves, and enforce obedience on themselves. This isn't to say that women can't do these things for themselves. They can very much give themselves orders. They can very much make their own decisions. They can very much enforce themselves to be obedient, but it is only to a degree. In comparison to men in general, history has shown that men have more obedience. Men have more ability to give themselves orders and others orders. And men make decisions for themselves that usually pan out pretty well because we have very good foresight. So now that we figured out between the sexes who is more likely to be in authority, why is it that women do not submit to that authority? Because this is a hierarchy that is designated according to nature. This is something that was in place well before any of us was born who are listening to this right now. Even while I'm making it, I'm not even, this is a process that has been old as time, damn near, in regards to human existence. So men were given the tools in order to have authority, because they practice these things within themselves to such a high proficiency that they're able to give them out at such a high proficiency as well. That's not to say, once again, that there aren't some men out there who have no ability to discipline themselves, give themselves proper order, or make proper decisions. There are plenty of men who do not follow that trend, who follow that trend of not being able to give themselves these things. But for the majority of men have the ability to implement these things in their lives. How do we know this? Because we have civilization. Civilization, literally, in my opinion, is the antithesis to nature. It defies nature. It says, nope, where you want to grow grass, we're going to put a road here. And nature tries to fight back through different erosional processes, like biological erosion, chemical erosion, things like that, from the rain to the grass growing through the cracks in the cement, all these things. Nature tries to reclaim what man has taken from it. But nature is very slow. This is not to say that we have supreme authority over nature, but we have the ability to alter nature. Women generally don't have that ability. But why? It's because they lack the intrinsic values necessary to have authority. Because in our ability to have authority, we can also exert some of that authority on the environment. Women generally do not do this. You don't see women out there building roads. You don't see women out there building skyscrapers. You don't see women giving orders to groups of men in order to build skyscrapers. You don't see these things. Not saying that they're not possible, but generally speaking, it is men who do these things. People also think that this is a sexist thing. No, it's not. It's just the way it is. I didn't make mankind the way they are, male and female. I didn't make that. That's just the observation that you can make. Anyone can make in regards to how women sit versus how men sit in the environment. So now that we figured out exactly who why, and what in regards to authority. We came to the question of why don't women submit? And my answer is that she is in opposition to nature. This is a conclusion that we all pretty much have come to. I mean, I don't think many men speak about it in this level of context, but anytime that a woman tries to go against the authority, she is literally going against nature, because it was nature and God, my opinion, who gave man the authority, who gave men the intrinsic values, who gave men the 30% larger body mass, who gave men the more dense bones, who gave men the larger proportion of muscle mass compared to women. Men didn't give themselves these things. So is nature sexist? The other portion that I want to discuss of this is what happens when you're outside of authority. When a cheetah has cubs, they're very vulnerable. That's the reason why they have the markings that they do, to try to blend in with the environment, because they don't want to be caught up by some other predatory animal, because they don't have the ability to defend themselves. So they have to be under the authority of their mother or their father. They have to be under the authority of an adult cub, an adult cheetah rather. Nonetheless, what happens if the cheetah cub steps outside of the protection of the authority of the adult? It more than likely falls victim to some type of calamity, either death or getting hurt or running across something that it shouldn't, such as a rattlesnake, whatever, some type of other predatory animal. This is what happens when you step outside of authority. So now let's compare this to men and women. We've already figured out that men were given the authority over women, not because we're better, not because we're, some type of demigod or something like that. It's just that that's the designation that was given to man. So therefore, the sub-designation that was given to women is to be submissive. But just like the cub, what happens when one steps outside of the authority, the protection of the one who they submit to? Calamity, bad things, death, an unpleasant life. So if we understand this about most of the animal kingdom in regards to adults looking over and having authority over some level of youngins, or anything else for that matter, when things start to step out of the authority, which is the protection, a lot of women don't see it as that. The authority is the protection, because it gives you the orders, it makes the decisions, and it enforces the obedience. The obedience is to protect you. It's not to make you a slave. It's to keep you in line where you need to be, because without authority, there's chaos. What is chaos? Chaos is unknown. Chaos is randomized. That means that outside of a structure that is consistent, meaning that your day-to-day life is pretty much planned out, anything else can happen to you outside of that. That's what chaos is. So to avoid chaos, that is reason why enforcing obedience is important. That is reason why adhering to the enforcement of obedience is important, because it keeps you free from other things that you don't find pleasant. But anyways, like, comment, and share. Catch me on Facebook. Same screen name, Wolf and Beta Clothes. If you guys want to have any specific videos of my past catalog that I have not already uploaded to that account so that it is more easily shareable for you, just let me know and we'll go from there. But until next time, this has been the Wolf and Beta Clothes. May you have a good day, and peace be with you.